Hi, so my name's Emma and Kirsty's asked me very kindly to pop on and talk a little bit about emotions, and I'm here because primarily I'm a yoga teacher, but I also have a background in speech and language therapy, and I'm a mum of 3, so I'm well versed in managing, or attempting to manage I should say, the varying degrees of emotion with varying degrees of success. So I just wanted to share a couple of top tips and a couple of really good resources that you might find useful. So the first tip is naming emotions, so as something that is really good to teach our children the names of their feelings and their emotions as they're feeling them, and probably afterwards, but also as a way of behaviour management, so managing a situation and maybe a tantrum or a fallout, so using that as a kind of, I don't want to say teaching situation, but as a useful kind of hop off point to looking at their emotions. So something that I found useful with my own kids, and increasingly so now that we're kind of in lockdown, is just literally naming what they're feeling. So my 3 kids are 11, 6 and 4, so we have different issues, shall we say, with them depending on their age, but this works with all of them. And if you want to kind of know a bit more about this, the best resource I would recommend is a book called How to Listen So Kids Will Talk and Talk So Kids Will Listen. And basically the premise is that you acknowledge their feelings, you name their feelings, and that's it. So, you know, what can usually happen in a situation where our kids are showing some big emotions is that we as the parent have kind of had enough, or we just can't deal with it anymore, and as a result what happens is we gloss over. Oh, don't be silly, you're all right, come on, oh just leave it, ignore him, blah blah blah. And what that does is it kind of, if we keep doing that, then the kids can start to feel as though they're not being heard, they're not being listened to, their feelings about something perhaps aren't so valid and it doesn't matter, but I feel really strongly about this, but mum's saying it doesn't matter. And then the frustration escalates, and definitely what I find is that when I do that, when I try and gloss over it and move them on too quickly, is that they kick off more and it lasts for longer. Okay, so the tack really to take is to listen and to look at that behaviour and look at what they're showing you. So to say things along the lines of, wow, I can see you're really angry about that. You're really frustrated that you can't play that game on the iPad right now, but you'll be able to do it later. I understand that you're angry, but now is not the time. So it's kind of acknowledging them. You don't have to lose your boundary. You can explain to them how it looks like they're feeling. You're not telling them that's how they feel. You're kind of saying, wow, you look like you're feeling blah blah blah. And honestly what it can do is just take the wind out of their sails. It's like a bit of magic. And it happened this morning, and my 4-year-old was kicking off because he wanted to play on the Kindle Fire at like 8:30, and my husband said no, and so I was able to be the good cop and get in there and say, look, I can see that you're really frustrated and you're cross with Daddy that he said no, but you could do X, Y and Z. And he cried and he snuggled in, and I said, you know, do you need a hug? And he cried and he snuggled in, and then a couple of minutes later he said, I feel like I'm being a baby. And I said, no, you're not being a baby. Being a baby would be still having a tantrum about it now. You know, it's fine to feel cross. It's fine to feel frustrated. It's fine to be cross with Daddy. Not always going to like what we say. You know, and even though he's only 4, talking to him about it in those simple terms, it really helps. And I do something similar with my 11-year-old. It's not not a million miles different, but just labelling and getting that confused mix of sort of jumble of feelings out into the open is a really, really helpful thing for everybody. And it acknowledges the situation, then you can talk about it and then you can move on, instead of immediately, what we sometimes try and do is just move on from it before their feelings have been recognised. So because their feelings aren't recognised, they have to kick off more to kind of go, no, look, I'm really angry about this. Whereas if you can stop kind of mid-flow and go, you're really angry, aren't you? And they can just go, here I am. You know, and it just brings it all down, and it reduces the length of the tantrum, hopefully. Not every time, but it's a good tack. And obviously it can work really well straight away, but you might need to continue and use it consistently before you see some real changes, some real long-lasting changes. But yeah, that's tip number 1.